My name's Richard Holstead. I'm one of the operations managers in here. So, history-wise, the Sandcastle was sort of built or finished in June of 1986, so that's when it was opened. Before that point, it was on the ground that we were at. It was a huge, big, massive, what they call a lido. A lido is like an outside water area where people used to come, like a swimming pool. And they used to have slides down it, and that was sort of right up after the war. That was during the war. It was built before the war, actually, 1927 I think it was built. But they decided that coming close to the beginning of the 80s, what happened then was, what do you think happened then during the 80s as far as holidays wise, what changed? Yeah, so people started going abroad for nicer weather. And flights became sort of cheap. Sort of Spain was the preferred destination, and then all of a sudden, less and less people started coming. So then, what they decided was, we'll knock it down, and we'll create an inside seaside for this country because it's always wet, it's always windy, and it's always raining. So we'll create an inside seaside, which was called, obviously, the Sandcastle. And so the Sandcastle was built in mind of you could come in any time of the year, 84 degrees all day long, and enjoy yourself as a family and enjoy the slides and the swimming pool. And the first year of us opening we had 1 million visitors. I remember being a young lad at 16, I was absolutely petrified lifeguarding, and I couldn't see the water for heads. These heads were just bobbing up and down, because literally our limit there, we could have 6,500 people in one day. And swimming, and all we had was a wave pool and 2 slides then. It was absolutely crazy. So that's the sort of the brief history of the Sandcastle. So the first bit of investment we had was in 2007, which was our slides and attractions. It was built in 2000. It took a bit of time, but generated and opened. And then the other additional slides that we've got now, the Aztecs, was at a later point, which brings it up to current day, really.
How did you feel when the lockdown hit?
Well, it was really hard because we had done a huge recruitment drive for our new team for the year. So we do have a lot of people that return to us, and we do have a lot of people that stay, staff-wise. So we'd recruited, we'd been out to the colleges, advertised on Facebook and other social media sites to try and get, a good level of new staff. So we recruited them many, and we were just waiting, and then we locked down. So pretty disappointing, really, for a lot of people. I mean, we had 50 new recruits we couldn't then start. So 50 people thought they had jobs and then we weren't able to take them on. So yeah, very disappointing. We were desperate to open, desperate. So when we got the news that we could open, and we opened up on the 25th of July, super excited. We've put every measure in place to keep everybody safe. The numbers have done really good. We've had to put session times on now, so people can only come for 3 hours instead of a full day, and they get an extra half an hour if they eat, so that's a bonus for some.
What's the funniest thing you found in your lost and found?
Right, okay, so the funniest thing we found in our lost property is a false leg.
If people were stuck, how did you save them? Like on the ride?
And we do something called incident nights, where we have loads of local clubs come in and they do things like pretend to have heart attacks, pretend to sort of asthma attacks, pretend to drown, and then our lifeguards have got to rescue them. And we also do sort of different various scenarios on the slides that might happen, and we've done a scenario where somebody's hurt and injured themselves and we have to evacuate them off the slides.
Started off as security, but like I said, I'm water park manager or assistant water park manager. So basically run the water park on a day-to-day basis, but it's been quite a long journey here, like I say 15 years. But I do enjoy it. It's a very good, great place to work, fantastic environment, everyone's friendly. It's quite a young environment, we're not all this old, but most of the lifeguards upstairs are quite young. Probably say average age around 19, 20 years old. They love it as well. It's a decent wage as well, so they get the national living wage, which is £9.30 an hour at the moment. It's quite a lot of money for a town like Blackpool, so really great place to work. I like working with people, I like working with young people. We bring them on probably around the age of 16, and then you see them develop and grow into obviously mature people, and then work their way up. It's probably my favourite thing, really.
What qualifications do you need for your job?
Right, okay, so I started off with no qualifications, only had my GCSEs. I came over, then they put me on what you call an NPLQ course, which is a lifeguarding course, and also did an apprenticeship in IT as well. That's just to do my job, but to be a lifeguard you need something called the NPLQ qualification. It's a level 2 qualification, it takes about a week to 2 weeks to do, and from there you become a lifeguard. So we teach you first aid, CPR, all the rescue techniques and things like that as well.
My name's Chloe. I've been here at Sandcastle Water Park for 15 years now. I started as a little catering assistant in 2005. I actually started here as I was coming towards the end of school. So I was still at school when I first started here. No, I was only 15, back in the day when you were 15. I've worked my way up through the roles. I've done different qualifications, so I started off as a little catering assistant. So obviously working in catering, you've got to have a bit of hygiene, and we get put on our hygiene certificate, basic food hygiene. I also did the supervisory level as well, and then I've gone on to do apprenticeships in hospitality, management courses, MVQs, and we are currently, the next generation, if you like, are doing a level 3 team leading in management. So yeah, so we're in the middle of doing that at the moment. When I finished school, I didn't necessarily come out with 5 A stars. I came out with 1 C, and I actually found out when I was about 18, 19 that I was actually dyslexic. So I always kind of thought I was a bit slower than others, but I was that percentage that fell through the net. I didn't get picked up on until later in life. So, you know, I always say push yourself to be the best, because yes, school is important, but it's not, you know, be all and end all the things. There's always something that you can push on to do.
What are some of the oldest rides?
Well, our oldest rides are the Thunder Falls. They were the only two, when we opened up in 1986, there were Thunder Falls, which is the blue and yellow slide, and there was the wave making machine. That was it. So they're the oldest, which were hit in 1986. Those.
What does it mean to you to have young staff that you can pay the real living wage? And just wondered if you could reflect on that for me.
With regards to paying people £9.30, which is the living wage at present, which was a council initiative, so everybody's on the same pay.
How old do you have to be to work at?
Okay, so we take people from 16 and from the 3rd week of June. That way they've got the GCSEs out of the way. To be fair, if you were 16 in August but you'd done your GCSEs, we would still look to take you on if you were suitable for the role.
How much money was it to build the water park?
Maybe with Richard.
That's pretty cool.
That's got to be a man.
That was. I think it was just over, or nearly £15.5 million, 1986. Yeah, but now the same building, to build the same building now, will be around about 70 million to build the same building now. Yeah.
Well, I'm Adam. I started here 10 years ago on my journey, and I originally started as a lifeguard. So here I am today as assistant manager. So 9 years down from a lifeguard all the way up to assistant manager within the engineers. And that's it. When I left school, I wasn't the cleverest of children. I think I only scraped through with 3 grade C's, which was maths, English and science. The rest didn't do very well at. So school is important. You know, you've got to, don't mess around and do your best, but it's not everything. And don't feel like you've failed if you've not quite hit the grades or anything. There is chances out there to sort of improve your skills and knowledge. There's always doors open for you to sort of step in and learn.
Hi guys, my name's Antonia. So I've worked here for 5 years. Obviously I started as a lifeguard, then I've worked my way up obviously not to the top.
Yet.
Yet. I like that. So now I am Deputy Water Park Supervisor.
What do you offer residents?
So obviously residents, they get 50% off when they come in. Obviously with it being session times, I think there is certain session times that they do now. But obviously with you being local, you just have to get a little locals card and you bring that in, providing proof of address, and you get 50% off the price.